Hello, everyone. I'm your host, Michael Atkinson, coach and owner at CrossFit Novato. We operate a 5,000 square foot facility in lovely Novato, California, and our mission is to coach people to personal empowerment through health and fitness. We believe that when people feel better physically, they feel better mentally and spiritually, and they are able to pursue the dreams that are planted in their heart. The intention of the CrossFit Novato podcast is to inspire people to take action towards improving their health and fitness by hearing stories from other people, both inside and outside of our community, that have done just that. Hey, Kristel, welcome to the CrossFit Novato Podcast.
Well, thank you, Michael. Happy to be here. I'm nervous, but I'm happy to be here as well.
Yeah, don't be nervous. We're just having a conversation. So for those of you that don't know, Kristel is one of our main coaches here at CrossFit Novato. She coaches 4 out of 5 of our early morning classes, and she also coaches a couple mid-morning classes. How long have you been coaching here now?
Started in January.
January, okay. Yeah, so January of 2021.
Yes.
So not that long, but in the short time that you've been here, you've made a huge impact. I get emails and texts about all of my coaches. I think I get the most about you, though. I think your personality is just huge. It's and it's funny. I always tell you that, but if you guys know Kristel, she is a small woman, right?
Five foot nothing.
but your personality is, I don't know, at least 6'4", maybe 6'6".
I like to say 6'6", 6'7", somewhere in there.
Yeah.
Giant.
Yeah, so, our listeners know the purpose of this podcast is to inspire people to take action towards improving their lives with health and fitness. And the reason I wanted you to be our first guest was because you have a very inspirational story. And, I told Kristel just before we started this that, you don't have to try to do anything. You just be you. You're inspiring. I don't know, the way you walk, the way you talk is inspiring. And I don't know, I guess maybe we should start back at the beginning. So where do you come from? How did you get into this world?
Well, we're going to go there. I was born and raised in Alaska.
Wow.
So it tends to get people wondering if I lived in an igloo, which I didn't.
That's what I started thinking of.
A lot of people do. I built an igloo, which is very warm. I highly recommend everybody build an igloo. It's very, very impressive how warm they are and how cozy they can be.
Was it like really cold on your fingertips to make the igloo?
I mean, we had gloves.
Okay, yeah. That makes sense.
Oh yeah, we had the whole snowsuit going on. I mean, when we built the igloo, it was because there was, how did it happen? It was really cold, and I looked outside, the Northern Lights were happening. We were sipping hot chocolate, and I had spilled my hot chocolate, and the hot chocolate spilt and froze in midair. Wow. And when it freezes, I thought as a kid it freezes and is like an icicle or something. It's not. It's like dust. So it just disappears in the air. It's so
oh my gosh.
tricky. So me and my sister started telling my mom to boil more water, and we just started throwing water in the air. And then my dad was like, "We should build an igloo," and I was like, "Yes."
How long did it take you to build the igloo?
Hours. My dad actually ended up finishing it, and then we came out and we slept in it overnight. It was like our
How did it fit you and your sister, your whole family?
Just me and my sister.
Okay.
Yeah, it was a me and my sister size igloo. We all got into it. The whole family got into it just to be in there, but it was very tight, a tight squeeze. But Dad made it for us. It was one of my best memories of my father, actually.
I mean, what a way to open your story. I'm just I was looking at your Instagram before this to prepare for this podcast. It's one of my mentors does, so I thought I'd do the same. And I was looking at all of your different pictures, and you just went to Hawaii, and your bright nails are on there a lot. You like to get the different nail art. That's
my
pretty cool.
Natural nails, just so if everybody is wondering, because that is a main question. They are my natural nails, and then my nail artist, hand paints crazy designs, and I just tell her to do whatever she wants. I just let her creative mind go, and it's more fun for both of us.
And that, that story and the Instagram profile and just knowing you in general, you're I think, just as a human being on this planet, we all get to go through different experiences, and I feel like you've been through a lot of very rich experiences.
As I'm getting older, I'm noticing that, but when I was younger, I didn't think that so much. But yes, in Alaska was where my dad was in the Army, so we moved a lot, and that's why we were in Alaska, and I was born, and then we moved to Georgia, and my sister was born, and we lived in New York for a little while, and then we moved to Redding, and then we moved back to Alaska, and that's where I was mainly raised, was in Alaska.
How long were you there? Like from what age to what age, mostly?
Mostly like 7 to 14, and from when I was born to like 2, like right before my sister was born, and then my sister was born. We're 19 months apart, so.
Is that why you're so strong? Were you just like making igloos and picking up rocks and stuff?
Like I said, only that one igloo had happened, and Dad finished it. Strength happened later. I've got to say, so once I moved here was when I met a whole bunch of people and started living the teenage life and eating and doing whatever I wanted to do, and I graduated high school, and I was probably like 100 pounds. I was a tiny human.
Wow.
And then in 5 years, I think it was 2009, I had found out I had celiac disease. And the way that I had found out I had celiac disease was Christmas Eve, after noticing in 5 years that I had gotten pretty heavy. And I thought it was just kind of starting to get older. Like, oh, I'm getting older. This is just the way of life.
How old were you then?
Well, when I graduated, I was 17.
You thought you were getting older.
22. I was like, I'm getting older. I don't know. This is just part of, I don't know. That's what I thought.
Yeah.
And I didn't really start to realize that I had like a yellow hue to my skin. I had like darker bags under my eyes. I had weird little bumps on the backs of my arms, like weird things, but I just thought it was like just my body. I just thought it was my body. And Christmas Eve, I went to my grandmother's house, and we're Irish and Italian, and we had pizza and pasta and chips and dip and all the things.
Yep.
I woke up the next morning and honestly felt like death. Like I thought I was going to die.
How heavy were you at the time? Because I know you just said you were 100 pounds around high school, and this is...
I had gotten up to my heaviest was 230 pounds was when I stopped looking at the scale. I say 230 because I legit probably stopped looking at like 228 because I did not want to see anything further than that. That was kind of when I started to be like, what's going on with me? Like something is wrong. Like this can't be right.
Yeah, what was your day-to-day life like? Like, how did it feel to wake up each morning? How's your energy?
Well, when I graduated, I was full of energy and bubbly and spicy like I am now. Firecracker is what I'm known as, but I was not. I was depressed. I wouldn't say like depressed because I'm always like a happy person, but my energy was very depressed-like. I just didn't want to get up. I didn't want to move. I always say, like, I used to walk everywhere, and we had a little Quickie Mart that was right down the street from our house, and I'd always be like, let's drive. I don't even want to walk. Like, and we'd drive there to get, like, ice cream sandwiches or something, like, horrible. You know, it's like, I can't even walk to get my dang ice cream sandwich. I had to drive. So it was, like, bad habit after bad habit. And, I was in a really bad place. I remember, actually, probably the worst point where I realized I had a problem was when I went through the McDonald's drive-thru and I got chicken nuggets, chicken sandwich, and a Big Mac meal with fries, Coke. Ate all of it right there in the parking lot. So I didn't want anybody to like know that I'd eaten all of that. Was it supersized or regular size?
I
think it was regular size. Gotta be honest, the supersized thing was like made me feel like that was bad. Like, if I did that, that was not good. So if I don't do supersize, it's not so bad.
Yeah.
But the bad thing was that I ate that so that I could go back through the drive-thru and get my ice cream sundae.
Oh wow!
And I'd go back through and get the ice cream sundae in hopes that I had spent enough time in the drive-thru like parking lot that the person that had helped me the first time wasn't there to help me again. Because that would be embarrassing to me, but it happened, and I was just like, so you just needed my dessert, and they tried to make it funny, you know, but it wasn't funny.
So you ate what you ordered the first time, literally waited after that just to make sure the same person didn't see your order.
I would be hopeful that I waited enough time. Yeah. And it's like hopeful that maybe I wouldn't want the dessert if I waited long enough. Like I'd be full. But I wasn't, so I wanted the dessert still.
Well, it's crazy. I think, I as you're saying this stuff, I'm thinking back to like my childhood, high school, and young adulthood even, and I remember the 3 for $1 candy bars at Rayleigh's, and I remember going to McDonald's and doing the same thing. Now the difference is I am a lot bigger than you. I usually ordered my dessert with my food, but it's just very interesting how how common it is that both of us are in the CrossFit world now, but ate like that back then, and how you could eat all that food and still be really hungry, right?
I was still hungry.
Wow.
Now I know that is crazy to think. Now I can't even barely eat a whole meal. Sometimes I'm like, all right, gotta finish it. Like, finish what you made. Don't waste your food.
Yeah.
But I eat all day now, whereas before I wouldn't eat, and then I'd like mow down on some massive, delicious, disgusting meal. So it's just, I don't know, I find it very interesting now. I mean, I say disgusting, but really in the end, I mean, sometimes it can be good still. I haven't had it in a really long time, so I don't really know. But I get in and out every once in a while. I'm not going to sit here and lie that I don't like eat bad, quote unquote. I think that it's good to have like that balance. But I do have celiac disease now, and I am lactose intolerant, and I really shouldn't eat red meat. So when I go to In-N-Out, my body usually isn't too stoked about it.
Yeah. So how did you actually find out you had celiac? So you gained a lot of weight. You felt really bad that day after your grandma's.
So the next morning I woke up and I felt like death. That was the best way I could explain it to people. And I went straight to the doctor because I was like, something is seriously wrong. I was throwing up. The only way that I was going to the bathroom was throwing up. Literally the only way I was going to the bathroom was throwing up. So It started to get really scary that like I wasn't having a bowel movement like that. I know. Even though I at that time wasn't quite into my fitness life, I know that was important, and it tells you if you're healthy or not. Like, you've got to poop. I know that sounds like something people don't like to talk about, but like
it's taboo,
important.
But important.
Not only do you need to poop, it needs to be good looking poop. It can't just be shitty looking shit. Like, quote unquote, like that's a lot of times what I say for myself, and still till this day that's something that I'm working on, and it's really frustrating. But it's gotten way better, but I know something that I'm very aware of, that I know something else is going on in there. I just keep taking things out and then reintroducing it, because doing these food tests are very expensive.
Yeah.
Going through what I went through was very expensive. So 2 weeks in and out of the hospital, found out I'm lactose intolerant, found out I'm this, that still wasn't fixing it. I was still throwing up. I'm like, what is going on? And my friend sent me an email, and in the email it said 25 symptoms related to celiac disease. I had 24 of the 25 symptoms.
Wow.
And I immediately called my doctor and said, I think my friend just diagnosed me with celiac disease. Is there a test for this? And I mean, this was back in 2009. It wasn't as common as it is now. But they said, yes, we have a test. You come in, we run your blood cell count, comes back high for white blood cell count or red blood cell count, kind of tells us things, and then we can go from there.
Yeah.
Well, everything was all miscombobulated, and they were like, we should definitely take you in. And so they did an endoscopy of my stomach, and it was extremely painful. I highly don't recommend it to anyone, but if you need to find out if you have celiac disease, you've got to keep eating wheat to find out if you have it, and that's the downfall about celiac disease. Is lately a lot of people have taken it out of their system before they can find out if they actually have it or not, and then when you reintroduce it, you're just sensitive to it just because of the way that it's processed now.
Yeah.
So it's just an interesting way that it is now. And I always say that people mess it up for people that actually have celiac disease, but I personally don't think anybody should eat it.
Right.
Especially here. I just feel like maybe in Italy where it's like not as processed.
Yeah, I mean, there's so much stuff about, genetically modified crops and pesticides around it and all that. We can go into a whole rabbit hole on that, right? But yeah, and it's interesting how if you're really not in this world or you haven't experienced all the things that you've experienced, you may not be aware of that. And one of the things you said earlier is like how you thought that was just the way you were, right? Like, I just have these things on my skin and I'm just going to be lethargic and feeling like crap, right?
Just me now. It's just me.
And it's not, right?
No.
And knowing you, that's definitely nothing like you.
Yeah. So I luckily, from that test, the doctor said my small intestine was so inflamed that he didn't even need to wait for the results to come back. He said, you have celiac disease. Mm-hmm. Don't go home and eat your last this or your last that. You're done.
Yeah.
Like, no more. Because if you do, you'll be back here, but it'll be because your small intestine has ruptured.
Yeah.
It's so inflamed right now, I'm surprised it hasn't ruptured, and you need to stop. So, sure enough, he called me a day later. Yep, the results came back. You have celiac disease. Luckily, I went to the like Safeway or something, local grocery store. I just started crying in the grocery store with my husband, looking at all the ingredients on everything. And at that time, it wasn't even as known, so there wasn't like gluten-free written on things. It was like I had to read, and I just remember people kind of looking at me, and I felt like I was being judged. Like, there's this girl looking at all the ingredients, like, and at the time I was heavy, so they're like, oh, at least she's trying. I just thought all these different things in my head, and you just get so judgmental about yourself that you, like, I felt like I wanted to just give up before even starting. And then I realized that no, I can only do the change here, and I've got an answer. Let's just go with it and see how I feel. And so I went with it. So
I'm curious, though, you know, because I think it's a very pervasive thing that a lot of the time a person may get that diagnosis and not change their behavior. And I'm always curious when I hear stories of people that go through deep change like that. What made the difference? Like, why did you actually decide to do your best to not eat gluten, and why didn't you just continue the same thing that you were doing?
I joke that, so I've been with my husband for 19 years, and we've been married for 8, and I joke that he's been with me through thick and thin, but it's literal. Mm-hmm. And I don't want to say I did it for anybody but myself, because in the end, really, I wanted to feel good again and have that energy again and be me, the person that I knew my husband had fallen in love with, that I wasn't me anymore. So yes, I did it for people around me, but I did it for people around me because I knew that my energy, I feel like I always say I don't have a purpose in life. What's my purpose? I feel like my energy is my purpose in life. As I'm starting to get older, I realize that, like, you don't have to be an artist or the president or movie star. Like, your presence sometimes, and like just trying to be positive. Like, if I can be known or remembered as anything, it would just be like, she was always so positive and so happy, and like that's what I lost, and I didn't want to be that person anymore. And I felt like there was a light, like maybe there was an answer if I tried. Like, what's going to happen if I try?
Yeah.
And I found out going through all of this that there's 2 different types of people with celiac disease. People who are really, really thin when they find out, because their body is just like getting rid of it constantly, or people like me who were really, really heavy because body didn't know how to process it, so it just kept holding on to it. If lack of a better word, I felt like I was turning into like the Pillsbury Doughboy. Like, looking back at pictures, I'm kind of shocked seeing myself.
Wow.
And I would always say that it comes down to you and the change that you're going to make for yourself. And that's what I decided to do. I didn't want to feel like the Pillsbury Doughboy anymore. I had a picture that I always looked at when I was in like probably 9th or 10th grade at the beach with my family. And I was standing with some sweatpants on that are kind of bigger because that was the style, like skinny girls with big sweatpants and rolled up t-shirts. And I had sweatpants and a bikini top on and a six-pack that was like there, but not 100%, but it was there for my age, you know. And I always said, I'm going to get that six-pack back. I'm going to get that six-pack back. And people joke now, like, you got that six-pack back. So it's like, it's pretty cool. It's cool to look back at that and remember that.
So would you say that when you realized you weren't yourself anymore, that person that your husband and married fell in love with, would you say that was hitting rock bottom for you?
Yeah, I would say what was hitting rock bottom for me was the way that I felt. Like, not my presence or anything even, like the way that I felt when I ate food it made me so sad that I like couldn't enjoy things anymore. I felt like I had lost something, so I felt sad, but then I felt excited, so then I felt scared, and then I felt overwhelmed, and I felt like there was so much work that I was going to have to do, and it was just, to fathom it all, it was just like, but I'm the type of person that if anybody knows me, it's like, well, let's go. And I went with it, and if somebody, I always kind of joke that if somebody at the time would have said, when you grow up, you're going to be a personal trainer and coach, I probably would have punched them in the face. Like, it probably would have been the most disrespectful thing I feel someone could have said to me at the time, because that was in no way, shape, and form where I was ever going to be. And I couldn't fathom getting there, or someone looking at me and being like, I want to look like her, you know? And now to be where I am and people not believe that I was 230 pounds, and for me to show pictures for them to believe it and know that, you know, I'm not just a person that has a six-pack that just had a six-pack. I work hard for it every day, and sometimes I got to double check that it's there, because sometimes I do fall off that wagon. And, you know, I think that that's okay, but I think it's biggest thing for me is that I'm aware of those times that I fall off, and I know how it feels to be where I was, and I just know that I don't ever want to be there again. And I know that I get in front of a class every morning, and I'm an inspiration to people. So if I eat bad, I'm going to wake up in the morning, I'm going to feel bad, and then I'm not going to give that energy to my classes. And that to me is like, that's important. They rely on me. I legit have my people say, I come in because I know I needed your energy for today. I got a good workout too. That was awesome. But like, I needed your energy. I need to make sure that I give that.
Yeah. So for you, eating well, taking care of yourself is connected to that purpose of having energy, right? Being that inspiration.
When I don't eat well, I don't want to work out. I don't even usually want to do anything. And that's not like me. I don't even want to go outside. I'd rather just put on my Netflix and chill.
Yeah.
And I hate feeling like that. Once I realize that I've been watching a Netflix show for 2 or 3, or the thing pops up and it says, are you still here watching? I'm like, oh my God, I've been watching long enough for it to ask me that. I need to get up and do something.
Yeah, I can't even imagine you watching Netflix.
It happens sometimes. I think that it's okay to say, but it's also just, I am someone who is very aware of my body and my feelings, and I'm actually someone who's working on resting. It's one of my biggest quote-unquote problems, for lack of a better word. I don't sleep and I don't rest even. So it's something that I'm working on, and I think that working on this, finding out what's going on with my eating and what's going on with food intake is going to help my body to rest, because it's not going to be working when it should be sleeping on whatever's going on. So I think it's just very interesting. The body's a crazy thing as I've gotten to know it more and more, and I just want to share as much as I can with other people.
Yeah, because there's probably somebody out there that's listening to this that may be undergoing something similar. It's not that uncommon in our society, with the quality of food that's out there, with the amount of nutritional education that most people have. So I think that's great that you're sharing that. Something I want to touch on for our listeners out there that they may not realize is Kristel is now not only a coach and a personal trainer, but a competitive athlete as well, in the sport of CrossFit, and she's a really good competitive athlete. She probably will be a little humble about that, but it's quite the change to go from McDonald's drive-thru, buying your multiple sandwiches and soda and waiting for an hour or something before you go back for your ice cream. How did you get into fitness?
Good question. So it was probably when I started, probably at the time. So when I found out I had celiac disease, I changed my diet immediately, and I lost 37 pounds in the first month of finding out I had celiac disease. And that to me almost scared me. Like, that's more than a pound a day. So I called my doctor and I'm like, am I dying? Like, is this okay? And he's like, be expected to lose more.
Wow.
He's like, girl, you're 5 foot. No offense, but you should not be carrying around all that weight. And your body is saying thank you right now. So enjoy it. And that's kind of where I was going, whereas a lot of people find out, so people who have celiac disease are either really thin or really heavy, and that's kind of where I got lucky. It was almost made it more fun once I started losing weight. It was like, so if I do this, I feel good and I look good? Like, well, I can do that. So for me, it started to get exciting. It started to get fun. It started to get, I wanted more of a challenge. Like, what else could I do? Could I get that six-pack that I dreamt of having? Like, can that actually freaking happen? Like, no way. Well, I'm going to try. And then one day, like 2 o'clock in the morning, an infomercial came on for Insanity. It's a at-home workout DVD with Shaun T. And if you guys don't know Shaun T, he's got energy like me. He's this black gay guy that is just full of energy, and I just loved his energy, just even from the infomercial. And I looked over at my husband and I said, if I order this, will you do it with me? And he wasn't like out of shape. He didn't have he wasn't allergic to things like me. He was just like, yeah, I'll do it with you. I was like, oh my God, I kind of wanted him to say no. Dang it. But at the same time, really wanted him to say yes. So I ordered it right then and there. And you know how normally when you order things, it takes a little while and you wait for it? This showed up, I'm not even kidding you, like 2 days later. And I told my husband, the minute it shows up, we're starting it. No matter what we're doing, we're starting it. And we did. We started it first 3 months. It was 3 months. It tells you when to work out, when you should work out timing-wise, and try to be consistent with that. What DVDs to put in. It comes with a nutrition guide. We just went for it. And I started to get that six-pack. I started see the six-pack there. And did it for 3 years. Repeated the 3-month DVD. It started to get annoying. No offense to Shaun T, but I knew when he was going to burp into the microphone. I knew his jokes. I knew I could pretty much coach the classes without putting the DVDs in anymore. Wow. So that to me started to get my mind kind of well, I need more. And my husband's cousin, Jenna Paul, shout out Jenna Paul, got me introduced to CrossFit North Marin. And I pulled up and hung out every other day for 3 months. Just hung out in front and watched people do stuff. I was way too afraid to ever walk in. I'm like, I couldn't do that. I don't even know what that is. What are they doing? What is that? What is going on in there? Climbing ropes. They're doing all kinds of stuff. I'm like, there's no way. So I just told myself, one day, I was like, just go in there. What's the worst that could happen? It's just you changed your diet. It's look how awesome that was. If you hate it, you walk out, you never see these people again. You've never seen them before. So I said, screw it, I'm walking in. I walked in and I did my first class in Travis Brackett, which at the time I didn't know was the owner of the gym. I just thought he was a coach. His energy was great. He had just good vibes, and I had a blast, and I loved everything about it.
Do you remember what your first workout was?
I don't. I wasn't a specific workout, and I know it was very modified. I didn't touch a barbell for a very long time. I called a kettlebell a kettleball for probably the first year that I did CrossFit, because nobody wanted to tell me what it really was, because they thought it was so cute that I called it a kettleball. I mean, it's a ball.
It is.
Why is it called a kettlebell? So I joined, and after that class went up to Travis and said, sign me up for a year. I don't want a month. I want this in my life.
Holy cow.
And I committed to almost going too much. I didn't really give myself a rest day. They were really cool, but in their gym they gave TRX classes. They gave lifting classes, they gave strength classes, they gave a regular CrossFit class, an endurance class, and I did all of them. If I could do them all in the day, I would.
Wow.
And it would be to the point that Travis would walk up to me and say, if you weren't still at the top of the leaderboard, I'd be telling you to leave, but how do you have this much energy? Go home. And I just wanted more. And I got introduced to wanting to coach. The idea was kind of going about my mind, but it wasn't until Danielle Diasclis, she's married now, So
Danielle Barnes now.
She introduced me to a team that was interested in getting a teammate to go to regionals. And I knew that it was like a goal of mine, but like, that's crazy. I'd only been at the time doing CrossFit for like a year and a half. I'm like, I was expecting maybe 5 years in, something like that. Like, once I understood what I was doing. And she said, you know, we got this team that's interested. Like, if you're interested in competing and you're serious, they want you, or they're interested in you. And so I tried out with the team, and they said the only way you could do it is if you left your gym and you came to us full time. You have to be with us 80% of the time.
So
it's like the rules for regionals or something.
Is this now at TJ's instead of North Marin?
So now that's TJ's gym is now talking to me. And so they said, not only do we have a space or an opportunity for you to join our team, you could be a coach. And like, we need coaches. Is that something you're interested in? Yeah. Wow. So I went with it, and kind of the rest is history. I just moved over there, and I ended up making it to regionals. Our team went that year.
2017.
And it was an amazing experience that I felt just got swooped from us a little too soon. A teammate tore his lat, and we had to pull out, withdraw, which still the experience was there, and it happened, and it was unforgettable, and I wouldn't take it back. And it gave me the drive to want to go to the games. It made me realize that, like, this competition in me, this competitive vibe that I've got is just begun, and that was super exciting to me.
Now, backing up a little bit, so when the coaching opportunity came about, was that your first time coaching? Was that TJ's? Yeah,
that was my first opportunity to coach. I had gotten opportunities to coach like 30-minute like boot camp style classes here and there right before that, because I was kind of intrigued and wanting to do it. And boot camp classes are actually really fun. They're really quick style. I never had a voice. I'm kind of grateful that I have a voice right now, because it's something that I'm working on trying to understand, talking through my gut. Because as a coach, I just like to yell a lot through the music, and I'm not yelling at anybody ever. I want people to be clear. I'm not that coach. It's like, get it down and give me 30. I'm just that coach. It's like, come on, you can do it. Like, go a little harder. Like, I'm just encouraging. I hope.
You are. I take your classes quite often, so you are. What made you want to coach? Like, because a lot of people spend a lot. I mean, we have members that have been here for years and don't necessarily have any inclination to coach. So what was your motivation? What was your why for coaching?
It's funny, I did a couple of Zumba classes with a friend. She was the Zumba instructor, and I loved it. And when I started, I was in the back of the class because I was super nervous. And when I started getting good, I got to the front of the lines, and she would be the one that would be the modified version for the class. And she'd say, and if you want the more intense version, look at Kristel. And I would always be in the front doing like the high knees with the quick side to side steps and getting crazy with it. And that just kind of got me more of the confidence that made me realize that, like, she looks like she's having a lot of fun up there, and like she's getting paid for that, and she's getting a workout. Like, that's pretty cool. Now, being a CrossFit coach, I know I don't get to work out. Like, sometimes if one person's there, I get to do it because I still get to coach with them. But that energy was something that I got empowered by. It was it like fed my soul. I was like, whoa, like, this is something else.
So you giving energy fed your energy.
Like, I wanted more. Like, sometimes I'll come in, no lie, I would probably never tell this to my classes, but I'd come in to class at 5:15 and be like pretty drag ass, like, okay, just talking to myself, like, okay, they're gonna pump me up, and like, it's gonna be good. And they do every time. I get the music on, and they're like, morning, what's up? Even them, they know me now, so I can't even hide it. They're like, what's up? You seem off. I'm like, yeah, I don't know, I'm dealing with this or that. And they're like, well, we're here now. So, and every single time the energy is able to turn around, and that's what I'm grateful for about being here, and knowing that I'm getting paid to improve people's lives, but in the end, like, really, they're improving mine. Like, it's a win-win, you know?
Yeah,
it's
absolutely.
a pretty cool job that I never thought that I'd be doing in a million years. That as I'm getting more into coaching and more into personal training, I'm realizing what did I want to do when I grow up? This is it. This is what I'm supposed to be doing. Why am I trying to make something else? This is me. This is my happy place.
Yeah, that's awesome. And so you got into coaching.
I know where you're going with this.
Do you?
Yeah. I have an idea. It took me quite a while to finally be a certified, or I can't say certified because that's not the right wording, but to be a CrossFit Level 1 coach to train CrossFit without another coach that's certified or my boss in the room with me. And it took me 2.5 years, 3 years, to finally get my paper in the mail that I just was waiting for.
Yeah.
A special, beautiful piece of paper. It's just a piece of paper, right? No. So much more to me. And I feel like, although it did take me 6 times of taking the test, 2 times of going through the level 1 course, and $2,500 later, when really it should only be, I think, $1,500?
$1,000.
Sure. Yeah, it's $1,000. Yeah. Yep, pretty much. It was worth every bit of it, and honestly, I would do it again. It was that level 1 course. I get something out of it every time, and it's an experience I think everyone, even if you're not going to be a coach, should do if they could.
So you took the test 6 times.
6 times.
And you didn't give up at all?
No, I wanted it more. I remember the first time I failed, though. Not failed. The first time I didn't succeed in passing, I bawled my eyes out.
Wow.
And I made the mistake of looking at it while I was working and I was serving. And I couldn't get it together to the point that I actually had to tell my boss I needed to go home.
Wow.
Like, that's how much it hit me and hurt me, and because I had wanted it so bad. And I thought, I know this might sound cocky, but usually things that I want in my life, I get. And I try, but I don't tend to have to try so hard. And this was something that, like, I wanted and I wasn't getting it, and it started to make me doubt if I was supposed to get it. Like, maybe I'm not supposed to be a freaking coach. Like, maybe this is the world telling me that, like, no, Kristel, like, this ain't for you. Like, just be a server. That's what I do. I do it really well. I make really good money doing it. Just serve people good food. Tell them how good something is. Move on. And I, at one point, after failing and not getting the result I wanted 3 times in a row, and then getting the email back that I would have to take the level 1 course again, I took like 7 months, maybe even 8 months before I even looked at courses available again, because I was just pissed. And I talked to my husband, and he's like, it is just not like you to give up. I said, I'm not giving up, but I feel like I don't know how much harder I can try. Like, the thing that was frustrating for me is that I would pass, like, when you take the level 1 course and you get the results back, if you pass, you just get results back that you passed. Done. Doesn't tell you if you got 100%, doesn't tell you how great you did, it just says you passed. Yeah. Which is awesome, but also kind of like, how good did I pass? You know, did I get a C? Did I get an A? Am I a great coach or am I not a great coach? And, like, in a way, I kind of understand why they do it. It's kind of a good thing, because there shouldn't be that thought, like, you passed, you're a great coach. Even if you didn't pass, you're still a great coach. That's what I'm starting to realize. And the thing that was frustrating to me was when it comes back and you don't pass, it gives you percentages and areas of where you need to focus on and where you didn't do so great and what pages to read. And I would just notes, and I would pass the section that I failed in and then fail the section that I passed in. And then I'd take the next time, and then it would be the exact opposite again. So it was like I knew the freaking stuff. I just couldn't know it all together at once for whatever reason. And yeah, that 6th time, I don't know. I went up to that test and I just looked at each question and just answered it. And just answered the next one, and just answered the next one, and just didn't second guess my questions, didn't get second guess my answers, and just, I know this stuff, just answer it and move on. And if I didn't know, because maybe a couple I was still not sure, I'd put a little dot next to the side, And then I hoped that I knew next time when I came back to it. And if I didn't, maybe I put a little guess in there and was hopeful that that was going to get me through. I knew it was between this or that, and I just went with that, you know. So I was grateful when I finally passed. It made me feel like I know this sounds bad, but I felt like a fraud. Like I felt like I was, even though I wasn't doing anything wrong, it felt wrong. So I felt like now I could be like, I never posted it. I never posted my certificate that I passed because I didn't want anybody that I had already coached to know that that entire time I had coached them, I wasn't certified and take it the wrong way. I just don't know how people react, especially in the world now.
Yeah.
I thought it was better to just leave it. So it's been 3 years of me being certified now. And it's feels good to have that in my hands. I'm going to have to take that test again soon. Oh, God. I passed the first time.
You're going to have to go for your level 2 soon.
Yeah, I'm going to have to do something else for sure.
Yeah, we're gonna have you go for your level 2, definitely. Because that's who we're going to be hiring moving forward.
Oh, there we go.
Now, a couple of things there. Like, one thing I just want to say is, like, that's the part of your dreams that no one talks about, is the hard work, the resistance that you're inevitably going to encounter, right? Like, you started coaching, you found you had this passion for being able to help other people and working out and getting paid to do it, right? And you're like, okay, I want to do this with CrossFit. And you failed not once, not twice, not 3 times, but 5 times, and then you passed on the 6th time. And no one really talks about that. Everyone thinks that when you follow your dreams, things just fall into place. And sure, a lot of things do, but you're going to encounter resistance at some part. And if you don't expect it, then it hits you really, really hard, right? And I don't think you can expect all of it. So I just want to say good job on not giving up, because you wouldn't be here if you had, right?
I think voicing things is huge. I think when you said that, it made me remember that there was a coach. I won't throw out his name just because maybe he doesn't want people to know it's his story, but he told me that it took him 5 times before he finally passed. And he's like, I'm a firefighter.
Yeah.
Like, we have to do all kinds of tests and courses, and I passed those, no problem. Like, this test is hard. You know, like, it's the way that it's worded. Like, it can trick you.
Yeah.
You know, so it's like, just know your stuff and just believe what you do, and you'll pass. And that gave me the courage to, like, okay, don't give up. Like, he can do it, I can do it. Like, so hearing it from other people, it should, you know, I hope that I'm just somebody that, like, oh my gosh, she took it 6 times.
Yeah.
Like, and I hope that they're like, look at where she is now. That's the cool thing, is that I see people at CrossFit North Marin that I'm now coaching over here, because sadly that gym is closed. And, you know, it's really cool to, you know, I'm not going to lie, I was nervous coming here, because coming from TJ's gym, it's further, you know, away from CrossFit North Marin. I didn't really see anybody that I had worked out with. I coached new people I had never met, so I was totally fine. Coming here, it was like, I'm going to be coaching people I know, you know, and they know that I didn't know what a dumbbell was and a kettlebell was. And so, I don't know. It's just really exciting to know that they have my back, and they're like, dude, you're doing it, and just keep doing it. And that's exciting for me, because that's what I'm going to do.
Yeah, I mean, that's probably quite the I mean, it is quite the change to see you from being someone that started with them or after them or whatever to now being the coach that you are. And, you know, one thing I want to say is you are a great coach. Like, I have people tell me that all the time. I see it myself, and, you know, the level 1 doesn't necessarily have any bearing on whether you're a good coach or not. It's more, you know, how well do you understand the methodology of CrossFit, right? So I just want to be clear about that. And that is important, because we are a CrossFit gym and you are a CrossFit coach. But it doesn't necessarily mean that you're not a good coach if you have a hard time taking tests, especially because so many of us have different learning abilities that, you know, taking multiple choice tests isn't the easiest thing for everyone.
Dyslexic. That's why I struggled so hard.
Yeah, so it makes it really hard to do those multiple choice tests, right? That's like kryptonite.
Oh, yeah.
So, but you still did it.
My boss actually reached out to CrossFit and asked if there was some other option for me. Can I do some live test and just show them that I know what I'm doing? And they said, nope. You gotta pass the test, just like everybody else. So...
yeah, but you did it. You overcame.
I did it.
So you go to TJ's, you go to regionals. after your teammate gets injured, the team kind of goes their own ways. You decide to keep competing, and why did you decide to keep competing? What does it mean for you?
So, little does Michael maybe not know, is I went through a little bit of my own frustration after that competition. I had never competed before, and I didn't really know how it was going to hit me, and it hit me like really hard. I got like really emotional. Like even my team was like, "It's okay, like you're good," and I'm like, "I'm not good. Like I knew we were going to make it to the games. Like even if we were on the bottom of the totem pole, I just felt it." And it's like, and it's okay. You'll get there. You'll get there when you get there. And it to me was just like I felt like, am I supposed to compete? Am I supposed to be doing all of this? It like really made me second guess like everything, because it hit me so hard. It's like it was so overwhelming. I was just like, oh, I don't like all of this. It's just so much. Like competing is no joke.
It was similar to the level 1 and failing level 1 so many times.
It was just like, why am I doing all of this and putting all of this stress and emotion on myself when I could just go serve people food? It's like, why don't I just do that? But that's me, is that I like the challenge and I like the way I feel when I compete. Like I come from an addictive family. I am very aware that I come from an addictive family, and I am very grateful that I found this to be my addiction. And I am very aware that I'm addicted to the feeling of getting sweaty and my heart rate just driving past what I think is maybe okay, and being like, oh, I am okay. And the feeling I get when I'm done accomplishing something that I didn't think I could do. And I mean, I cry after workouts on numerous occasions on just how I feel. So I wouldn't take back any of it. Like I'm very grateful.
You know what? This whole time that you're talking, I'm just thinking about why we get along so much. And there's so many similarities with things you've said as how I think. I come from a family that's addictive as well. And, I think that CrossFit on the outside, and especially high-level CrossFit, gets a lot of criticism for that, and there is such a thing as overdoing, right? We're very big on understanding recovery and taking care of yourself and all of that at our gym. But I don't think enough people really understand what it means to people like us that have come from the mud and are now inside the gym, and that feeling of overcoming something that you didn't think you could overcome, and what that does for our self-worth and just our overall feeling and confidence in who we are, right? So that was really cool of you to share that. Well,
and like I kind of always say that like this is my family and my home, like this is my second home. Like it really, I spend more time here sometimes than at my own home. So yeah, it's, when that happened at regionals and I ended up going through a little dirty mind trick on myself that kind of made me think I didn't want to do this anymore. I still coached, thank goodness, and it kept me around fitness, but I gained 65 pounds again, and I got heavy again, and realized that I kept looking in the mirror, and my boss talked to me, and thank goodness for TJ and his support. Like, I am very grateful for him and him getting me out of the headspace that I was in. He's like, if you don't like the way you look in the mirror, then change it. It doesn't matter how much you weigh. It matters about how you feel.
Yeah.
And if you don't like how you feel, make some changes, Kristel. Do it. Like, I've seen you do it again. And that was like really what I needed to hear to realize that I like competing. I like the way it feels for me. And I want to go to the games for me. I want to go for no other reason than to feel that I accomplished my goal. It's kind of like saying I ran the marathon. Well, you didn't run the marathon unless you crossed the finish line. Like, that's my finish line. Like, I've got to get there. I don't care how I get there, but it's got to happen. So it's a goal of mine, and it's going to happen. I just said it for others to hear. I've never really done it on that aspect before. But to me, it's like that's the way things start to happen, is when you really start putting that energy out there. And I do have a competition that I'm just waiting for the freaking email to come through that tells me 100% that I'm going to my very first individual masters, because I am officially 35 years old, and that's old in the CrossFit world, I guess, competition on my own. And that's super exciting to be back in San Diego, where it's not going to be in the same stadium. I don't believe that I had competed when I did regionals, but it's still going to be in the first place that I went to my very first big competition.
I love San Diego.
So, it's beautiful.
Yeah.
So I'm excited.
Yeah, I mean, it's that goal. And, for people who maybe can't relate to that goal of wanting to go to the games, it takes a lot of hard work. And, it takes, your team disbanding after your teammate was injured and you questioning if you actually want to do it. And it takes a lot of persistence, a lot of time, a lot of energy, and you have to really know that you want it for yourself, right? And I know from the gym owner perspective, I network with a lot of gym owners in various Facebook groups and calls and stuff, and it's a very common sentiment with a lot of CrossFit gym owners that having competitive athletes in your gym is not a good thing because the competitive athlete takes away from the members who are just here for health and fitness. And I've never believed that. I think when I came to CrossFit Novato and Andy Boone owned CrossFit Novato, the website said that we were a facility that catered to all levels, and that was one of the things that inspired me, and I wanted to compete and I wanted to go to regionals. And then after some time I realized I really didn't want to, and I wanted to focus on being a good coach and owning the gym more than that, and starting a family. And so for you to be here in our gym, I'm grateful for that, because you bring that energy that inspires other members, because even though they may not want to go to the games or have any interest in it, they know someone that for you, that is your goal, and that is your highest expression of human potential. And that's inspiring to watch. For them, it might be just being able to walk down the stairs without pain. It might be being able to pick up something off the floor without pain in their lower back. And for you, it's going to the games, and they see that. And you inspire them, they inspire you. Mm-hmm. And I think it's great for our ecosystem. But also, you're a very kind person. You are humble, and you're humble, you're very extroverted. That's one thing I've learned about you. But you're, like you said earlier, that energy, your purpose, it shines through. I think we should, before we wrap this up, touch on how you ended up here. So from TJ's to here. So,
funny story, I met Michael when I picked up food at Soul Food. Mm-hmm. When he worked at Soul Food, that's a local, really good Puerto Rican food place here that is just, if you haven't had it, you gotta have it.
I think I said that the last podcast. We better get a sponsorship.
That's pretty funny. I think you did, actually. I remember you saying it. But it's legit. It's good food. But I had went in and picked up to-go food, and I was wearing like sweatpants and a sweatshirt. Like, I don't even think I was wearing anything that said TJ's Gym on it or anything. I was just wearing, I had just gotten done coaching, but I wasn't wearing anything other than CrossFit shoes. And I remember him commenting and being like, "Oh, do you do CrossFit?" As I was like grabbing my food, and I was like, "Who is this guy?" And like, what is he talking about? Like, yeah, I do CrossFit. And I'm like looking to see like, how would he know that? I'm in baggy clothes. You can't even see any muscles on me or anything. And he's like, he could tell by the way I was like looking at him, wondering how he knew. He's like, "Your shoes." And I was like, "Oh." He's like, "We should do a workout sometime." And I was like, "Yeah, for sure." And anytime I came in, it was like, "Are we going to do that workout sometime?" And I'm like, "God, yeah, we should. We really should." And finally, 2 years later, I finally came in and did a workout. Yeah. And little did I know, Michael was being a little sneaky at the same time, because he wanted me here. And it was in an awesome way of doing it. He wanted to make sure my energy and my vibe was what I wanted in here, and I fell in love with this place. And I was outside because there was like a rule at that time, because it was #COVID. If you were inside, you had to wear a mask. If you were outside, you didn't. And it's still like that again now. So I was like, I'm going outside. This is handstand push-ups and all this squatting. I'm going outside, mask off. And I had people like coming up to me like, hi, like, oh, good job today. And I was just like, gosh, this is like a cool vibe, cool energy. And Michael's like, people really liked you over here. Like, if you're interested in moving over. And I had been interested in wanting to find somewhere closer. I live in Novato, and I was commuting a lot, and I had gotten a new job at Trader Joe's because the restaurants had closed down, and it was just like a lot of back and forthing, and it just seemed, now Trader Joe's is 2 seconds from the gym, and it's way more convenient and not so much workload overload on top of all my training, because that's when Michael was saying that it is a lot of work. That's the biggest thing. Just finishing this competition, I was shocked that I qualified, because I had so many things going on in my life, and I honestly kind of thrown these workouts together in the last week that I had.
I wasn't shocked you qualified, just for the record.
Well, thank you, but I crammed them in, and there's a lot of work that goes into just doing the workout. It takes about an hour before you even get to do the actual workout, the setup, making sure everything is measured right, the weights are showing, and you're saying everything that you need to say. And so it was just, it gets overwhelming, and yeah, it's a lot of work, but seeing that you hit above that line and knowing that you're going to that next space, like, it makes like all that hard work worthwhile. And it always makes me remember that, like, I've been a judge on the other side of competitions, and it's a lot of work that they put into these competitions too. And whenever I think like, geez, we got to measure this too, we got to measure that too, it's like, hey, they had to do it too, and they're just making sure that it's fair for everybody. So like, that's legit, and I appreciate that, and that just makes me want to be like, let's do this even more, so yeah, gets me pumped up.
Now, so you came over here and took a lot of classes right away, and then now, how many personal training clients do you have at the moment?
At the moment, I have 3. Yeah.
And then you also have
and then I have a group of 15 that I coach once a week, of a group of accountants that come in on their lunch break, which is a personal training group class that I do for them on Mondays, and they just spoke about wanting to move to 2 days a week, so hopefully I'll move in with them 2 days a week. And yeah, my goal is to be full-time here and not be working at Trader Joe's at night. And I had been in a place where I just felt like I was going to always be a coach and always do something else together. And being here is like making me realize that like you can be a full-time coach. It takes work. It takes it's like your own personal business inside of a business. And you've got to make sure that you know what you want and how you're going to get there. And I'm finally, after 6 years of coaching, getting it. It's taken some time, but I'm super excited to see where, this goes from here, because I'm not even a year in. I started in January, so yeah. It feels like I've been here a really long time.
Yeah, we've had, it does feel like that. When you said January, I was like, really? I was like, it feels like a lot longer.
Yeah.
But yeah, at CrossFit Novato, our goal is to have professional coaches, and if we have part-time coaches, they are professionally trained, going through our own mentorship program, and fully educated and understanding of the people that are walking in our doors, because we want to be able to serve anyone that has a doctor's consent to exercise, whether they're a high-level athlete or they haven't worked out ever in their life and they're 72. And you are well on your way to full-time coaching. I don't know if half the time people realize that you do that, because you are doing the competition, you are working at Trader Joe's at the moment, but the goal is to have you doing this full-time. So for anyone that's listening that maybe your story resonated with them, who are the types of people you enjoy working with the most for personal training?
People have asked me that so many times, and I've got to be honest, I just want to work with somebody that wants to better their lives. I have an 83-year-old client that I meet outside of here, so I really do have 4 clients, but one of them is outside of here that I've met with her for 4 years, and I just meet her at her house, and she's the most amazing human being, and So, I mean, she's 83. I do CrossFit with her. Yes, I just got her to be able to sit down on the floor and stand up by herself without using her hands. That was huge.
For most people out there probably don't know this, but that's actually a longevity test. I forget, some doctor in Brazil came up with it, and it can actually be a marker. It's correlated with how long a person lives, their ability to do that without putting a hand or knee down. So that's not a small thing.
Yeah. So, but then I have a client that I am getting through 48 sessions with, and he is a previous gymnast that told me that I've given him the strength back, that he is going to get his triple tuck, flip, dip. There's a lot of words to it, but he's going to get it, and he believes in himself again. And that was the best message I could have gotten. Like, really, I just want people that just want to. There doesn't even have to be a goal. There doesn't even have. It's just, the goal just needs to be, I want to get fit and feel good about myself. Not even get fit. I just want to feel good about myself.
Yeah.
I want to look good in the mirror. Cool. Let's work together. I'm all about energies. Our energies and our vibes need to match. And I want you to be honest with me. If I'm too much, if you don't like me, cool. Just tell me that. I'm going to be okay with it. There's going to be someone else here that can work with you, I'm sure. We have so many different vibes of energies here. I am full of energy. And I do have most of my clients say they didn't think they would like me at first, but they stuck with me and they love me now, and they couldn't imagine me not with them. So I will put that out there. I may be a lot at first, but I also might turn into your favorite thing.
Well, one thing that we didn't really touch on, but I've noticed about you that not every coach has, is you're very empathic. So you're able to read other people's energy and match their energy, which is what makes people feel comfortable. So naturally, you are a ball of high-strung energy, and so people can perceive that as a lot. I will never say too much, but they can perceive that as a lot at first, but then as you get to know them, your empathy takes over, and that's a skill that I believe all great coaches have, and I think you can learn it, but I do think it's much harder to learn and practice than it is to have it innate, and you have it innate. That's one of your gifts.
It's a real secret talent. Ninja move.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So, well, I think it's been amazing having you on here.
Thank you.
You have a very inspirational story. We are very lucky to have you on our staff, and I'm excited. I think we should have you back on here once the 4 clients turns into 50, because it will.
I'm down with that.
Yeah.
That was my very first podcast, people, just so you know, and that's why I was nervous.
Gosh, first of many. Guarantee after this, you're going to have people reaching out to you for more.
I hope so.
Yeah.
That was fun. Thank you, Michael.
Yeah, thank you, Kristel.